When jurors feel capable, included, and trusted, they rise to the responsibility you've asked of them. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Kristi Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Kristi Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. It's the middle of January, and I understand that there are going to be major storms hitting across the nation this week and the weekend, so be safe. It's been really cold here in the Portland area, but actually sunny, so I'll take it because it kind of gives me a little boost. I hope that you are travailing this dead of winter in your area, and again, stay safe and warm. I'm excited to tell you about something that I did recently. Now, just a little backstory. I have a membership to my local community center through the Parks and Rec District, and I'm really grateful to have access to the fitness center and also the pool. It's just a mile from my apartment, and I regularly use the pool for water aerobics and individual exercise and mobility work. It's great, and I love it. I just have to get in the water occasionally. It just calls to me. Now, on the other side of town is the sister location, also part of the Parks and Rec, but I've never been. Now, as of January 1st, they made it so that my membership at one would transfer to the other location as well. So when one of my pool buddies invited me to go try out the other spot, I said, sure. And at the time, I thought it was just going to be a change of scenery, the same kind of facility, but just a little different. But it ended up actually stirring something much deeper and much different for me. Now, the cool thing about this other place is that they have a water slide and a lazy river, which now that I've experienced it, there is nothing lazy about it. I mean, you just get into the current and it just whooshes you away. I was absolutely powerless as I just followed the flow around this track. But once I got my feet underneath me, at least I could participate willfully and actually walk against the current for some resistance training. And at the very least, I was able to finally just not run into people. That was good, a good start. But the thing that I really wanted to share with you about is that water slide. Now, as a teenager, and you maybe did this too, I would go with my youth group to a water park just north of here, maybe a couple hours. And I used to love the slides. So fun. It's like roller coasters, but on water. Now, this, of course, was not that grand of a scale. It was just the one slide. But I tell you what, I was completely overcome by the experience, overcome by joy. Now, my friends warned me just to sit up so I wouldn't become just a human missile. But as soon as I hit that first corner, I just couldn't help but lean back. I really was jolted back, and full joyful screams filled the pool area as I came careening out of the chute, an absolute torpedo. And I found myself utterly breathless, and my heart was racing. It was a thrill. And almost immediately after that rush, my brain did what it always does, and it started asking questions, started getting curious. Why was I having such a strong response to this? Now, amidst all my smile and laughter, I also was thinking, When did I stop playing? When did I get this far away from just silly, unrestrained fun? Do you remember that moment for you? Just think back. When was the last time you just let loose? Having an existential crisis in the pool on a Saturday morning was not on my bingo card, but there I was. Now, I've never been a footloose and fancy free type of gal. I've talked about this before on the podcast. I've just always had a more serious, organized, controlled way about me. And that's all well and good. I don't begrudge that part of me. But I also want to cultivate fun as I age, not as a reward for my productivity, but as a necessary part of being fully alive. Something about that water slide experience just gave me a real moment to remember and for it to serve as a reminder for me to not give up the spirit of play. So I'm curious, how do you cultivate just fun and play in your life? Of course, we know how important it is for kids, but as adults, I think it's equally important. I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email or send me a DM and just tell me how you create space for play, even in the midst of our full, demanding, very professional lives. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. In my one-to-one work with clients, I love working with them on their teaching sections. You maybe would think that with my theater background that the storytelling parts would be my favorite. I do love helping attorneys tell engaging and compelling and inspiring stories with clarity and generous energy. But teaching attorneys how to be teachers, that's my jam. That's a special joy for me because teaching is what gives jurors confidence. And confident jurors make good decisions. Stressed out, intimidated, out of comfort zone jurors make quick decisions, and that's not always great for your client. Now, a huge aspect of my theater work was theater education, which meant that I had to learn for myself the best ways to keep students engaged, tracking with what we were teaching, internalizing it, being able to bring it to recall, and then use that information later when it came time for a performance. Does that sound familiar? Isn't that exactly what you want your jury to do? Stay engaged during presentations and testimonies. Track not just your key points, but also the flow of trial. Be able to relate to your client and anchor their story into their own experiences. And then be able to recall that information and confidently discuss it, maybe even advocate and go to bat for your winning verdict. That's exactly what you want. And in order for them to do all those things, they need to be empowered and trusted. And it's up to you to do that work. So, what do I mean when I say empower them? Let me break this down into 3 very specific, strategic ways that you can do this. How you can help them feel ready to tackle the discussion and the decision making in the deliberation room. First, organize your teaching section so that you tell them what should happen. What do good companies do? What does a good baby delivery look like? What do good hiring, training, evaluations look like for a trucking company? And keep your teaching separate from your story. All too often, I see attorneys start in this fashion, but then they start to intertwine. And I think it's a mistake to do this because when teaching and story blur together too early, jurors lose their footing. It requires two entirely different cognitive processes: learning versus receiving stories. So keep them separate. The power of keeping them separate and not getting ahead of yourself is that if you take your time, if you stay really patient and make sure everyone understands what should happen, when you get to the part where you unfold the details of what did happen, the jury has been set up to feel super smart. They will be able to detect the grievance. And when jurors feel smart, they stay engaged. They'll mentally stay connected and thinking, come on, even I know they're supposed to do that. They will be intellectually and emotionally invested. Any insecurity they felt when trial started, because they had no prior experience with or knowledge of trucking or birth injuries or construction sites or safety policies at grocery stores, whatever your case is about, that insecurity is gone. You have made them knowledgeable. And your clarity and patience in teaching has helped them create their mental outline. Then, when you start telling the story and they start seeing it all play out in their mind movie, it'll be like they're watching with the textbook right next to it. They'll be able to cross-reference in their own mind. They'll feel equipped. This is one way that you empower them. Another way that you empower them is by making sure that when they go into deliberations, they still have some emotional currency left to play with and aren't completely spent. So what do I mean by emotional currency? I'm talking about the limited emotional energy your jurors have available throughout a long trial. How you speak, your pitch, pace, melody, volume, and tone, those 5 vocal building blocks that I teach, those create emotional reactions in your listeners. And your listeners have finite amount of emotional currency they can spend. So don't make them spend it when they could be saving it for later. For instance, when you say, on Friday, June 17th, 2022, it was a sunny day and folks were enjoying a Little League game. When you say it that way, your listeners are braced. They're expecting aliens to invade the ballpark or a biker gang to plow through infield and murder everyone in sight. Their nervous systems are already preparing for impact. You have made them spend emotional currency unnecessarily, and they will not have it to spend when you really need them to at the dramatic climax of your client's story. Instead, keep things light that can be light. This isn't about minimizing harm. It's about pacing and emotional impact. Try this instead. On Friday, June 17th, 2022, it was a sunny day and folks were enjoying a Little League game. Now, of course, they know that something bad is going to happen. Something is going to go wrong eventually because they're sitting in a courtroom after all. But don't make them spend before they need to. You empower them by not draining them and tapping out their reserves unnecessarily. Now, the third way you empower your jury is by using everyday language and not making them translate you. Remember, your jurors are coming from all different walks of life, all different life experiences and all different levels of education. It's important that you recognize that the language of the court is kind of elevated. It's sophisticated and brainy. Legalese is full of SAT words. Now, some folks in your jury may know all those words, but the ones that don't, not only will you cognitively lose them, like their brains will just check out since they don't understand what you're saying anyway, but you'll emotionally lose them too. You will not garner any trust with them if they feel stupid when listening to you and then comparing themselves to the other jurors. Now, it's important to frame this not as needing to dumb it down. That mindset can unintentionally create distance instead of authority. So just get rid of that mindset. It's not about dumbing it down, and it's not because they aren't smart. They are. Instead, keep your thoughts on building community, creating an even playing field where everyone is not just able, but they're invited and encouraged to participate with ease. Take out all the guesswork. Take out the intimidation. Take out their uncertainty. Do all the translation work yourself before you even say a single word to the jury. Now, I do have a helpful guide for you to use if you're serious about equipping and empowering your jury for success. It's a simple free cheat sheet of the top 20 terms I think you should avoid using and what you should say instead. And then I have a mini training on how to speak so they get it. And it's the cost of a double latte. So easy and accessible. I'll put both the links in the show notes for you. So pick both of those up. When jurors feel capable, included, and trusted, they rise to the responsibility you've asked of them. Now, in the next episode, we're going to be talking about how to reduce stress and improve information processing. So be sure to tune in. Until next week, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.